You want to know about the crusade? You want the epic tale of knights in shining armor? Go talk to a knight. They have the horses. They have the armor. I was a farmer from France. A terrible farmer, honestly. My wheat died twice in 1 year. My goat hated me personally. And my wife once said,
Martin, if stupidity were grain, we'd survive winter.
look, I'm nobody. Not a knight, not a lord, and definitely not a village genius. My life's greatest achievement was successfully growing a turnip that didn't taste like despair. That was my legacy. A turnip. Then, the priest showed up. Now this guy could sell ice to an Eskimo and sand to a fish. He was a salesman for God. And this priest climbs onto a barrel in the middle of the square, looking like he hadn't slept in 3 years. Raises a wooden cross high into the rain. Takes one deep breath. And shouts,
Jerusalem calls for aid!
Now the problem was, none of us actually knew where Jerusalem was. One man whispered,
Is it near Paris?
Is it near Paris? Another asked, Can you fish there? The priest kept shouting about salvation, eternal glory, forgiveness, holy war. Really excellent marketing, honestly. Then he said the magic words, the words that changed everything.
Any man who joins the crusade shall have his sins forgiven!
Silence. Real silence. You could actually hear every criminal in the village thinking. The butcher slowly raises his hand.
Father, all sins?
Any man who marches to crusade, his all sins will be forgiven.
And suddenly half the village became very religious.
Listen, life in my village was miserable.
You woke up hungry, worked hungry, went to sleep hungry. If you survived winter, congratulations, you got another winter later. So when someone promises heaven, adventure, and forgiveness, you start packing immediately. I didn't have a sword. I made myself a spear from ash wood and sharpened the tip with a kitchen knife. I carried it proudly. I looked less like a crusader and more like an angry gardener. Still, I joined, and so did thousands of others. Farmers, priests, beggars, blacksmiths. All of us marching like we had suddenly become holy warriors overnight.
Goodbye.
Though most of us could barely march in a straight line. One man brought his goose because he claimed it could sense demons. A goose! He said it would protect us from evil spirits.
Pour la gloire et la croix, nous marchons vers l'Orient.
At first, the journey felt glorious. Church bells rang as we passed through villages. Priests stood beside the roads, blessing us like we were saints marching straight into heaven. Children ran alongside, shouting. One kid asked if I could fight dragons.
Do you fight dragons?
For the first few days, we truly believed we were a holy army.
God wills it. Save Jerusalem.
Then reality introduced itself. You see, an actual army usually marches in formation. We marched like spilled soup. One man fell into a ditch before we even left France. Thousands of
peasants marching for weeks with goats, wet boots, old cheese, and absolutely no understanding of bathing. Now, trap all of that under the summer sun for weeks. You could smell our crusade before you could see it. This was not an army. This was Europe's largest traveling disaster. And somehow, we were heading to liberate Jerusalem.
We set off with high spirits and a decent supply of bread, but that vanished quickly. Our leader was a priest, a man of strong faith and powerful words. He gave orders, guided the crowd, and reminded us that our journey was sacred. Every day he preached from the Holy Scriptures, urging us to remain steadfast. He often reminded us of the psalm, Even though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. His teachings gave courage to many during those dark days.
Yet as the food completely ran out, desperation grew. In order to survive, some began taking goats, sheep, chickens, and any food they could find along the way, turning into a gang of livestock thieves. When we crossed into Hungary, the Hungarian rulers looked upon our hungry host and immediately understood our condition. Their answer was simple. No assistance. We were escorted from their lands with soldiers.
Weeks passed, then months. We traveled across towering mountains, crossed rivers broader than fields, and passed through forests so dark they seemed untouched by light. And then, finally, we reached Constantinople. We had never seen anything like it. The city looked enormous beyond comprehension. Massive stone walls stretched across the horizon like mountains carved by giants. Golden domes gleamed beneath sunlight. Ships crowded the harbor like floating forests. I remember standing completely speechless. The city itself smelled incredible. Salt water, fish, spices, perfume. Not once during my life in France had I smelled perfume. But the people of Constantinople looked at us with absolute horror. The Byzantine guards spotted us from the walls immediately. One guard leaned over the wall, shouting in Greek-accented Latin, "Halt! Who are you people?" One of our pilgrims stepped forward proudly. "We are crusaders!" The guard squinted. "You look like thieves." Then one old man steps forward, raised his spear dramatically, and shouted,
We come from Europe! We march to liberate the...
"To liberate the holy city of Jerusalem!"
Meanwhile, behind us, things were getting worse. Pilgrims were trying to sell fake holy relics outside the walls. One man claimed
A feather from the angel Gabriel!
he possessed a feather from the angel Gabriel. It was very clearly goose feathers. The Byzantine emperor, Alexios I Komnenos, took one look at our crusading mob and basically said, "Get them away from my city immediately."
Get them away from my city immediately!
So they ferried us across the Bosporus into Asia Minor. Honestly, they transported us with the same urgency one uses removing rats from a bakery. Now, the sea voyage itself was terrible. Absolutely terrible. The waves tossed ships around like toys. A priest attempted blessing the storm. The storm remained unconvinced. Then we reached Anatolia, and suddenly the adventure stopped being funny. The land stretched dry and endless beneath burning sun. Water became precious. Boots cracked from heat. Men argued constantly from exhaustion. Turkish scouts watched us from the hills for days, silent and patient, like wolves circling wounded sheep. We kept marching deeper into Anatolia, thinking God himself was clearing the road for us. Then we reached a place called Civetot. The men relaxed. Some started cooking, others argued over stolen chickens. One fool even claimed the Turks were running away from us.
The Turks are fleeing!
And somewhere beyond those silent hills, the Turks decided, enough! Then the arrows came. Endless arrows, so many they swallowed the sky whole. Men screamed, horses collapsed, and panic spread faster than fire. And through the dust, through the screaming, the Turkish riders appeared on the hills. Calm, disciplined, swords shining beneath the sun, while their horses thundered downhill toward us. What happened next wasn't a battle. Battles involve two sides fighting each other. This was pest control. I survived only because a handful of us kept running. We ran without stopping, through smoke, through screaming men. Nobody even tried fighting. We were just trying to reach the sea before the Turks reached us first. Then, through the smoke and waves, a Byzantine ship appeared offshore. We swam for it like drowning rats. Byzantine sailors hauled us aboard, half dead, while the sea smashed against the ship hard enough to throw men across the deck. I remember collapsing beside the barrel, coughing seawater, too exhausted to even speak. The last thing I saw was the shoreline burning behind us, smoke rising into the sky. Screams vanished beneath the crashing waves, while thousands who marched for glory, all those prayers, crosses, and promises of Jerusalem, disappeared into fire and dust before the sun had even set. Months later, the real crusaders finally arrived. The armored nobles, the men who actually knew which end of the sword to hold. They captured Jerusalem. They got the songs, the glory, the statues. We got buried in the footnotes. Me? I went back to France. My wife didn't even recognize me. I walked into my field, looked at my old plough. So, keep your crusades. Keep your glory. If you ever find yourself being offered a holy opportunity that sounds too good to be true, take the advice of a man who's been there. Check if they're giving you a sword. If they hand you a stick and tell you God is on your side, run the other way. Now, if you'll excuse me, I have a turnip to attend to.